Let's just say people have different reactions after watching Dandadan, especially those who haven't read the manga beforehand. So if you've heard someone say that Dandadan is one of the weirdest anime/manga out there, they're not lying. It's no doubt that the anime is packed with bizarre alien ghosts like Turbo Granny and moments that will make you go, what did I just watch? But honestly, don't let the weirdness fool you or stop you from enjoying it. Because beneath all that chaos, there is a story with a lot of emotions, humor, and surprisingly sweet romance between our two main characters, Momo Ayase and Ken Takakura. Where it is a shonen, but I like to believe that at the center of the story are Momo and Ken, aka Okarun. Momo is confident, strong, and full of attitude, while Okarun is shy, insecure, and super awkward. They end up getting tangled in supernatural battles against aliens and ghosts because of the most natural reasons. Despite this strange start, their bond grows into something real and their relationship becomes one of the best part of the story. And even though Momo and Okarun don't share common hobbies or interests, they do share common struggles. So Momo is the type of girl who acts like she doesn't care, but deep down, she really does. She never admits that she likes Okarun, but her actions say otherwise. For example, early in the manga and the anime, Aira, another girl from their school, tries to tease Okarun and make fun of him. Momo immediately jumps in to defend him. She doesn't let anyone insult Okarun and make it clear that she has his back. Even though at that time she hasn't admitted her feelings, yet later when Aira starts liking Okarun, Momo's jealousy starts to show, though she tries and sometimes fails to hide it. And later in the series, we will be introduced to a new alien girl named Vamula. She will soon innocently announce that she wants to marry Okarun, and Momo is not happy about it. She is visibly annoyed, though she never admits why. But what makes Momo such a great character is that she's not just about jealousy. She's genuinely kind, as we have seen in the anime how she apologized to Aira and Okarun, and over time she also starts to care deeply for Vamula as well. Momo's layered personality makes her so fun to watch. She can be jealous and stubborn, but she's also brave, loyal, and compassionate. Okarun, on the other hand, is the total opposite of Momo. He's not confident, he's insecure about himself, and he's definitely not the tough guy type. This is ironic because he shares the same name as Momo's celebrity crush, Ken Takakura, a famous actor known for being super macho and hard boy. But Okarun slowly starts to change. After he gains spiritual power from Turbo Granny and he works hard to grow stronger, he also becomes more confident. However, what really makes him stand out is his dependability. He's always there for Momo, not because he's trying to impress her, but because he truly cares about her. And it's not just Momo who gets jealous, Okarun also feels insecure when Momo's childhood friend Gigi shows up. Gigi is not only Momo's first love, as the granny says, but also someone who have hurt her in the past by teasing her along with other kids. When Okarun learns about this, he feels all type of different emotions and starts comparing/competing himself to Gigi. But unlike Momo, who expressed her jealousy outwardly in a way, Okarun used his feelings to motivate himself. He trained harder and pushes himself to be stronger, all so he can protect Momo and prove his worth. And of course he messes up sometimes because he's an awkward fellow after all, but he clears up the misunderstandings and moves forward. And as I said, they're like the complete opposite of each other, but that's what makes them such a great pair. They balance each other out. Momo's boldness helps Okarun become more confident, while Okarun shows Momo that it's okay to rely on others. Now it can also be considered as a slow burn because they're both terrible at expressing their feelings. However, their actions speak louder than words. Like in that one short chapter where Okarun buys Momo a special edition DVD starring Ken Takakura, as Momo had casually mentioned wanting the DVD. So Okarun secretly worked a part-time job to save up for it. He was also late to meet her that morning because of his job, but instead of admitting the truth, he shyly handed her the gift and downplayed his effort. When Momo realized how much Okarun went out of his way for her, she doesn't really know how to express her gratitude. So in the classic Momo fashion, she teases him, pushes him playfully, and says thank you in her own way. Also, their teasing is an entertaining part of them because it feels natural and balanced. They obviously poke fun at each other, but it's never cruel or mean-spirited. Halfway through the manga, I was sure that all we'd get from them is "see you tomorrow" instead of an actual face-to-face love confession. But later I read one of the sweetest moments in the manga. It's when Momo makes curry for Okarun while he nearly died in a fight and was recovering afterwards. She literally leaves him a note that says, "Love you," but the girl who slays ghosts and aliens doesn't have enough power to say it to his face. Still, the moments like these that shows how much they care for each other, even if they take their time to admit it out loud. And in the manga's latest arc, arc, Okarun actually finally confesses his feelings for Momo. But it happens in the most true Dandadan fashion. And of course, even later it doesn't go as smoothly. Because after he saves Momo, she has been shrunken to a mini Momo due to a curse and refused to talk about his confession until she's back to normal, making me super excited for the upcoming chapters where we will actually see them confessing. And if I'm being honest, I had no idea that shonen could even have a rom-com genre slash subgenre, and after reading that Dandadan wasn't originally planned as a romance, as the creator Yukinobu Tatsu wanted it as a battle force shonen manga, but his editor pushed him to read hundreds of romance manga which heavily influenced the final product. I feel like saluting the editor for this. Without that push, Dandadan might have been just another generic action series. And even if we put their story on hold, Dandadan still have a lot to offer. For example, every supernatural entity has a backstory that makes them more than just villains. Take Turbo Granny for example. She is initially introduced as a creepy ghost, but as the story progresses, we learn that she has a softer side. She accompanies the soul of young girls, giving them comfort in their afterlife. And even though she might have been gone in the manga for now, I'm certain that she will come back and give Okarun her powers again. Because I think she knew about that new guy who is controlling powers by making people yield to him or something. Another one that is already animated is Acrobatic Sylvie. Another ghost, but she has a tragic story about losing her daughter. Her pain and longing make a lot of people shed tears along with Momo and Ira. The third one is Evil Eye. I don't know if anime will cover this or no, but for me, his story was the most heartbreaking somehow. He was a child victim of some sacrifice who was locked up underground when all he wanted to do was play with the other kids. Later, he will make Gigi his vessel and they both will become my favorite characters. Then we have Mr. Montes Shrimp, whose story is both strange and touching because he is shown as a villain where all he wanted was money to save his sick son, who needed a lot of blood for his treatment. And strangely, the blood in his alien land was the milk on the earth. Granny figures it out and he becomes a part of their team. Next we have Taro, who is a school anatomical model whose only wish is to reunite with the girl he loves, Hana. Last but not least, we have Vamula's backstory. That makes me love her so much despite her saying few to no words in the manga. Anyways, my point is that these backstories add depth to the series, making it more than just a comedy or an action anime. So why does Dandadan stand out? It's simply cause it's chaotic, funny, emotional, and sometimes downright weird. But it's also a story about connections, about finding love and friendship in an unexpected places. Momo and Okarun's relationship being the heart of the series, their journey from awkward strangers to a near couple that trust and support each other. And it's not just them, every single character goes through character development, yep, even those aliens. While Dandadan is an amazing read, it's not for everyone. There are uncomfortable and out-of-the-box scenes in this anime, and later they will have even more of those scenes like these. But it's just so addictive and fast-paced to me that it makes me forget about how the storyline actually started or how uncomfortable those scenes were. That is, until they're brought back again. And if you're planning to check it out, make sure you're aware of its warning. Lastly, I'd say Dandadan is a wild ride from start to finish. It's funny, heartwarming, and sometimes even heartbreaking, whether you're here for the Turbo Granny or the Extra Granny. I'm just trying to enjoy it with my mind shut so I don't create solid opinions about it. And I think everyone else is doing the same. So my take will be to ignore those scenes maybe, and if you really can't, well, there are always other animes that you can enjoy. That's all for today. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
No, you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.